Michael, I want to go back into talking a bit more about your plans and your endeavors. There are some amazing brands out there, and you've worked with some of the most amazing brands in the world. There's a lot of brands that need help too, and they have the built-in audience. They're loved by many, but they're just not doing so good. Um, what are like, three or, what are three things you look for? Somebody says, hey, Michael, man, this is my brand, this is my IP, this is my service, this is my product. I need you to come in here, fix this, and help us engage with the audience. Help me tell my brand story in a way that's gonna really help me engage with my audience and get an ROI out of this. Really convert into some sales, really convert into some media engagement. Where do you start? What are three things you look for in three places you start? Where do you start?
Mm. That's a good question. I would say, I think, when you're evaluating something like that, it's important to see what the existing audience is at the moment, and see, is this a lapsed audience? Is it an audience that was strong 20 years ago and now it's gone? Is it an audience that is, you launched something fairly new and it had a big spike and then it fell off? Who is that audience? What's their level of engagement and their passion for it? That's the first stage, I think, of evaluating what the next steps are. I think the other thing is, how willing are you to break what you might think isn't broken, right? Because there's that old saying of, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Sometimes you got to break it, even if it's not broken. And the reason that I say that is, again, I'll come back to my own personal experience with GI Joe Transformers. We certainly were doing a strong business with GI Joe comics, with Transformers comics. A lot of people would have just said, "Leave it alone. It's doing great. It's doing fine." I mean, we were always in the top 100 comics, and we had a strong audience and we had good feedback. When we decided to make the change over to Skybound, there were concerns. There were concerns of why are you breaking what's not broken? And the fact is that the audience for the Skybound comics is 5 times what the audience was before we made that change. And there's a lot of things that go into that, but the bottom line is that sometimes if you've got a brand that's faltering, or that is not performing the way you think it should be, and I'll come back to a quote that one of the most important mentors in my life once said, which was, brands don't get tired, consumers get tired, fans get tired. And and that was Brian Goldner, who was the CEO of Hasbro until he sadly passed away. But I never will forget him saying that. Brands don't get tired, people do. I think you have to look at that and say, is your audience tired? Are they like, yeah, you did that. I've seen that. You did that 3 times in a row, and I liked it the first time, and I really liked it the second time. The third time, I was like, okay, now you're trying to sell me the same thing, the same story, the same brand, a 4th time without doing anything new. Don't let your audience get tired. And are you willing to do what it takes, to take the risk? Sometimes it's a risk to shake things up and get them excited again, because that, at the end of the day, you're nothing without your audience.